Hi, my name is Keenan,
And I'm Dominique.
and you're listening to Saving Lives with Drones. This is our very, very first episode, and I'm stoked. How about you? How are you feeling?
I'm pretty pumped, buddy.
I'm pretty pumped too. So we're just going to kind of get into why we're here and what we're hoping that you are going to get out of listening to this series of videos.
Yeah.
This is tailored towards public safety professionals.
It is.
Principle, the people out there that are making a difference and saving people's lives and property, and just trying to make the world a safer and better place for everybody. Right. The use of drones is very, very new for pretty much everybody that is out there, both civilian and for public safety, and trying to collect that information and get the right subject matter experts together and having that knowledge for putting together your program for your department can be a daunting task. That's something that we discovered from the time when we kind of first started thinking about this about 1.5 years ago to where we are now is night and day. And a lot of it was through trial and error, and a lot of it was through, doing research and homework. And what we thought 1 month, we learned something out. We will learn something else like 2-3 months down the road and find out, oh wow, we were wrong. Because that's going to happen when you're kind of getting involved in something new that really there's not an established set of practices. So the idea is that we want to bring this information together to help others formulate a set of practices that work well across the public safety arena and for others out there. So before we get started,
right,
I'd like to mention our sponsor, Skyar Aero Imagery Services, a Chicagoland-based company that provides aerial imagery for agriculture, real estate, and for doing building and roofing inspections and whatnot. So we're very, very happy to have them as a sponsor.
Yes, we are very thankful.
They've been very, very good to us and helping us get things rolling. I think because our introductory episode, we should probably introduce ourselves a little bit so the audience has a little bit of idea of who they're listening to. So Dominique, why don't you go ahead and kick it off?
Okay, well, I'm Dominique Whitmore. I'm a relatively new firefighter. But one thing about it is I've always been very, very interested in technology and how it can help push forward a lot of the things we do in public safety. And I wanted to introduce it into firefighting, something I'm very passionate about. And drones seems to be the perfect way to do that. It's just as far as making not just firefighting, but again, all public safety's job.
Law enforcement.
Exactly.
Emergency management. Yeah.
Just making it easier, safer, and more efficient, and drones seem to be the perfect way to do that. Born and raised in Chicago, I know how tough the jobs can be. I've seen it on both sides, whether, I haven't gotten in any trouble now, but law enforcement and
so you say.
law enforcement, the fire side, paramedics, these jobs can be very, very tedious and taxing. And, drones, the use of drones can take away a lot of that, and make jobs just a lot easier,
A lot easier, more efficient,
and
safer.
And I've seen it firsthand just in, the time span that you've introduced me into it. It can be very groundbreaking in a way and changing in just the way that we approach the everyday tasks that we have to face as public safety officers and stuff like that.
No, absolutely. And that's what the series is kind of all about.
Exactly.
So my name is Keenan.
Yep.
I have 13 years in the fire service. Over the span of the last 21 years, I took an 8-year hiatus to go work for a large software company in the Seattle Redmond area. He's just full of jokes about that.
Yeah.
But I'm an advanced firefighter, fire apparatus engineer, instructor too. So I have a little bit of experience under my belt from a fire service standpoint. Mm-hmm. About 1.5 years ago, I saw a news broadcast about the use of a drone by a neighboring fire department. I was like, wow, that's really, really cool. And I started doing a lot of research. I started doing a lot of investigative work, and I eventually found out, after doing a lot of research and a lot of homework, just kind of what works and what doesn't work, and the different types of scenarios where drones could actually be useful. We think a lot, like you look on YouTube, and after Hurricane Matthew that happened a little while back, you think about search and rescue a lot, but from a fire service standpoint, there's other things that we can do. Is like keeping we talk about 360 size ups all the time, and I'd like to kind of coin the term 540 size up when you're using a UAV, because now you're not just going around the drone, but now the structure, you can actually go up and above and around the structure itself, and being able to see things from a different perspective, being able to you might not be able to tell when the roof is going to fail, but you can definitely tell when the conditions are deteriorating up on that roof. You can see, you know, those shingles are, registering 340 degrees and they're rising rapidly.
Right.
That's going to tell you probably want to get off that roof like right now if you got people doing those operations. And that's something that you typically would not be able to figure out until possibly it's too late. Yes, we look at other conditions like the type of smoke, the conditions inside the structure itself, but now we have another tool that we can actually use to provide us that type of information. And wildland fires is another good example. When I'm not talking like the major forest fires that occur over in the West Coast and whatnot, but
Right.
like out here we get a lot of grassland fires that occur and that cover maybe a couple acres, and be able to find those hot spots and just kind of coordinate all the efforts that are going on the ground, because we're not using tankers or anything that are dropping like air tankers dropping water or helicopters like that, nothing like that. But having the drone be able to kind of see the entire scene as a whole and figure out where all those hot spots, where all the smoke is coming from, like with the thermal imaging camera,
Of course.
would be really, really useful. So, the wildland fires, and then even like after you're done with the fire, mop up, overhaul, being able to use drones just to make sure that, all your temperatures are where you want them to be when you're done, so that way you don't have a rekindle, because, that can be embarrassing. And then, there's other types of scenarios that, we think about, like water rescue. We actually did 2 demos of that, if you remember.
We did.
One actually
Of
went
course.
pretty well. Yeah, you were the victim on the first one. And that, that one worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
We were able to get the flotation device to the victim pretty much right before the rescue sonar was able to get to the victim. And we were able to provide that for you and the rescuer, so that way you had, as the victim, had something to hold on to.
Yes.
And then the rescuer, you were less panicked and less stressed.
Of course.
And the rescuer could then, go ahead and just pull, wrap his arms around you and
again,
pull you in.
it made his job a lot easier.
It made his job and safer.
And safer.
And that's one of the key things. And also being able to have a different perspective. If it was like, let's say it was a boating accident and you were a victim in the water. Now I have that drone in the air. I can look to see if there's any other victims that might, unfortunately be face down in the water.
Exactly.
That you might not know right away and be able to make those decisions quicker. Now, that kind of leads into another drill that we did, where we simulated a mobile home being hit by a tornado. And we tipped the mobile home on its side. So that was going to totally change the game of how you're going to make entry into this mobile home. And surprisingly, tipping on its side, it held perfectly right on its side.
Yeah, it did.
And we were able to use a drone to not only see victims like through the openings on, which I guess would be the Charlie side of the structure, but even though it's standing straight up and down, but there were holes on that wall that were facing towards the sky that I can actually see victims and people moving around. But also kind of telling Incident Command in the very first few minutes of us approaching, getting on the scene, what were the conditions up there? Based on those decisions, they knew that putting a ladder up there and trying to go through the top through windows wasn't going to be a viable solution, because it was the whole wall that was compromised on top. So they ended up cutting through the roof of the structure to get to the victims. And then later through that scenario, what we didn't know is, even though I was an instructor and I would think I would know everything that was supposed to happen on this drill, I was throwing a few curveballs. They actually had victims that were outside of the structure itself. And it's not to say that, anybody's, not paying attention to what they're doing or they're getting tunnel vision.
Right.
But, you're focused on the people and you only have a finite amount of resources that are there. But having the drone be able to give that whole larger picture of from the sky, we actually found 2 victims. One that was on the ground that was maybe 100 feet away, but kind of in the brush where where the rescuers weren't actually actively working. And then one was in the water. So there's this tree line. There was the mobile home was here. Then you had a tree line here, and then there was this pond that was over here, a very large pond.
Right.
And they had a dummy that was in the water, face up. And we were able to find both of those with the drone with the first few minutes of that incident. So Incident Command then had the information that they need, to be able to allocate resources appropriately to rescue the rescue, or in one case, recover the victim.
And again, it's not because of negligence or anything like that. It's just we're here to show that drones on the fire scene, or active shooter scene or something like that, how they can work and enhance and make things easier for us.
Yep.
It's not negligence. It's not because we, as public safety officers, don't do our jobs. And it's not to say that drones themselves don't have their limitations, but together we can break some of that ground, and we can push things forward and make things easier.
Exactly. It's all about getting that information.
Exactly.
It's all about, trying to, provide as much information to Instant Command and have that different perspective that we have never really ever had.
Exactly.
It's just a perspective that we just don't get on the fire ground. And that's what I'm really super excited about.
Yeah, me too.
Just again, we're not experts.
No.
We're just looking to try to provide this information together, provide this information to you all, and also, take questions and feedback that you guys are going to have for us, and we'll try to help find those answers for you as well. So just to kind of give you an idea of how we're breaking this down, one of the things that I was always challenged with when trying to find this information was trying to find the latest information, because you look at something and read something and then maybe not realize it was like something from like 2010 or 2011, which doesn't apply today.
Right.
So with these videos, we're going to have a version number that's associated with the different videos. And if we update a particular video, obviously we'll have the podcast, but we'll update that particular topic with a version number. So we could have like Water Rescue 1.0, and then, maybe learn some new things, maybe use a different drone, and we'll update it to 1.1. That way, that when you're looking at 1.1, that's kind of the latest video, and we'll always have the latest versions of the videos on our website, savingliveswithdrones.org.
Okay.
So that way you can see all the links there, you can see all the latest videos, and you just kind of know, okay, this is an older video, which may have some relevant information, but this is the newer, updated version of that video. Because at times, with drones, technology's changed. Like every 6 months, DJI has come with a brand new drone.
Yes.
They're just constantly throwing out new technology, and the technology is improving greatly. And that's something we've never really had to deal with in the fire service, because things are, about tradition and the way things don't rapidly change in the fire service.
No.
But I think
or as far as any public safety.
I would say that's pretty true. At least from looking from the outside looking in. I can't really, because I'm not a law enforcement officer, so I can't really say if that's really true. I mean, obviously the introduction of body cameras are still a relatively new thing for some agencies.
But look at how they fought that for a second, where it's just, new things sometimes scare people, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to usher in that information. Maybe you're not the chief, and maybe you're not the person introducing the program, but maybe you're the guy that's introducing the program to the people that need to be there, and being able to come with that plan of, hey, we can use this in this way, or it can make life easier for us this way, or everybody knows that it's not just all about that, but the almighty dollar, and how we go about things like that, and how much insurance and liability and the laws that we're going to have to go through. All of these things that we're going to talk about in these upcoming episodes are the things that people need to know. Whether you're, again, police officer, fireman, paramedic, or you're that guy that's just trying to lend
working
that
for
hand.
Public Works, emergency management, all these different agencies. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, that's going to do it. That for this episode, and my name is Keenan.
And I'm Dominique.
And we'd like to thank you for watching Saving Lives with Drones.
Have a good day.